Don't you just hate the United Nations? Everyone seems to these days. Critics say it's bureaucratic, inefficient, wasteful, weak, corrupt. And the organisation has been the subject of some pretty awful headlines in recent years. Look, yes, the UN has its problems, its flaws, its serious shortcomings, but can we get some perspective here, please? This is an organisation whose annual budget is roughly similar to that of the Tokyo Fire Department, has fewer employees than Disney World, a smaller staff than Paris City Council. And yet the UN is saving lives every day. When Syrian refugees turn up on the shores of Greece or at the border of Turkey, it's the UN High Commissioner for Refugees that's there to welcome them and find them a bed for the night. In fact, UNHCR is helping support 55 million refugees and displaced people in 123 countries. How about the United Nations Children's Fund, or UNICEF, which provides immunization for 40% of the world's children? And then there are all those vital organizations whose names don't begin with UN, but are, believe it or not, part of the United Nations family. The WHO, the World Health Organization, which led the global campaign to eradicate polio. The IAEA, which helps to prevent nuclear proliferation. And the IPCC, which leads the fight against climate change. And then there are the UN peacekeepers, a minority of whom have carried out horrific and inexcusable crimes, and they must be investigated and punished. But again, big picture, there have been 71 UN peacekeeping operations since 1948, and UN peacekeepers are currently involved in 16 different hotspots around the world today. These troops, on a shoestring budget, often are the difference literally between life and death for millions of people. Now, is the United Nations often used as a plaything by the great powers, which use and abuse their veto on the UN Security Council? Undeniably so. And as a big, influential multilateral organization, the UN needs reform. It needs transparency. It needs democratizing. But the fact is, for all its many flaws, if the United Nations didn't exist, we'd have to invent it. Or as a former UN Secretary General once said, the United Nations was created not to lead mankind to heaven, but to save humanity from hell.